Hey, Celtics Nation, we are diving right into the latest game, and let me tell you, it was a roller coaster from start to finish. The first half was rough in ways that make you question everything about shooting rhythm and offensive flow. The second quarter, in particular, was a nightmare. The Celtics could not hit from beyond the arc to save their lives. 1 for 11 from 3 in a single quarter is the kind of stat that will make any fan shudder. You could see the frustration mounting on the bench, the missed open looks, the ball swinging around the perimeter with no one connecting. By halftime, the team was down 10 points, and it felt like all the hard work from the first quarter was slipping through their fingers. There was a sense that momentum had completely shifted to the other side, and suddenly the game felt like a puzzle the Celtics had no answers for. Every miss seemed to compound the pressure, and the team went into the locker room with their heads a little lower than usual. Coming out of halftime, though, everything changed. The Celtics came back with energy, intent, and some of the most impressive shooting we have seen from them this season. Jaylen Brown found his groove instantly, hitting shots with confidence, spacing the floor, and demanding attention for defenders. Derek White followed suit, adding to the offensive surge with precision and calm under pressure. He managed a perfect 3 for 3 from beyond the arc in that third quarter, turning what looked like a lost game into a moment of hope. The offense clicked, rotations worked, and suddenly the Celtics were not just in the game. They were dominating a quarter that completely swung the momentum in their favor. The energy in the arena shifted palpably. You could feel it in every pass, every cut, every screen set. It was as if the team had collectively decided that they were not going to let a rough shooting stretch define the night. By the end of the third quarter, they had won the period by 16 points, and suddenly the narrative of the game had changed entirely. But as we all know, basketball is a game of runs, adjustments, and timing. The fourth quarter started with Anthony Simons taking over, showing flashes of brilliance that made you think he might carry the team to victory. He was hitting shots effortlessly, including from deep, and scoring 10 points in a matter of minutes. Yet, once he checked out, the Celtics' offense began to stall. This brings up a question that is starting to become more pressing. What is the optimal substitution pattern for this team? For the second straight game, a player gets hot, and then as soon as he leaves the court, the offensive rhythm falters. Simons was coming off the bench? Yes, but perhaps letting him play the full 12 minutes in that stretch would have been the smarter move. The team clearly had shooting struggles across the board, and yet the rotation decisions seemed to disrupt the flow rather than enhance it. Pritchard had an off night, and while Brown and White were still contributing, their shooting percentages in the fourth quarter were underwhelming. The offense lost cohesion, and it became clear that maintaining a hot hand could have been a key strategy. On the other side of the floor, Justin Edwards was lighting it up, hitting 3 out of 4 from deep in the final period. The one miss that he had was quickly capitalized on by Kelly Oubre, who cleaned up the offensive rebound. This sequence highlights a recurring issue for the Celtics. Execution in critical moments, especially on defense and rebounds, continues to be inconsistent. Jaylen Brown's attempt to make a play on a player turning his back resulted in a wide-open shot that should not have been available. He admitted after the game that he was caught ball watching, and while mistakes happen, the timing and recognition of help defense is something the team must improve on. Defensive rotations need to be sharper, and players must trust their teammates to cover when one takes a risk. The Celtics were not lazy. They were aggressive and trying to make plays, but in those moments, the margin for error is razor thin. Offensively, the Celtics were generating good looks, running plays, and moving the ball. The offense was not forced, but the missed opportunities at the end of the second quarter allowed the Sixers to create separation and set up a run that carried into halftime. Those missed shots are not just numbers on a stat sheet. They're momentum killers that change the complexion of a game. The team has to learn how to handle those swings, how to maintain focus, and how to execute under pressure. Quick decisions, smart spacing, and recognizing open players are critical, especially in the NBA where every inch, every millisecond, and every tiny miscalculation can be the difference between winning and losing. The end-of-game scenarios continue to be a sticking point for the Celtics. Late-game execution, understanding spacing, reading defenses, and hitting shots when it counts remain inconsistent. Even when opportunities arise, the team sometimes hesitates or takes that extra dribble that allows defenders to recover. Jordan Walsh, for example, has shown flashes of speed and decisiveness, but even he has had moments where timing was just slightly off and plays that should have been easy scores ended up being contested or blocked. Passing lanes that should have been obvious go unnoticed, and the Celtics lose the chance to capitalize on transition opportunities. The team is creating advantages, but finishing them consistently has been the challenge this season. Looking at the bigger picture, 12 games in, the Celtics sit at 5-7. Not disastrous, but far from where they would want to be. The team is fighting for consistency, trying to understand how to maximize its talent, and learning how to turn good possessions into points. The next stretch of games will be crucial for setting a rhythm, building confidence, and figuring out how to execute when it matters most. Individual players continue to take steps forward, and the development of younger pieces like Walsh shows that the future has promise. But the present requires adjustment and a sharper focus on execution. The Celtics are still very much a team in progress, navigating through the ups and downs of the season, and every game provides insight into what needs to improve. As the fourth quarter unfolded, the Celtics continued to wrestle with execution, and it became increasingly clear that small mistakes were compounding in critical moments. Anthony Simons had shown the ability to take over the game when he was on the floor, but as soon as he rotated out, the offensive flow began to falter. Jaylen Brown and Derek White tried to pick up the slack, but both were struggling with consistency, missing shots that earlier in the game had seemed routine. This is where the question of timing and substitutions comes into play. Whether keeping a hot hand in the game for longer might have prevented the offensive stall and kept the momentum in Boston's favor. Yet even with these rotations, the team showed flashes of brilliance, moving the ball well, cutting efficiently, and creating opportunities. The issue was less about effort and more about execution in high-pressure moments, the ability to convert opportunities when defenses tighten, and the precision required to capitalize on every advantage. On the defensive end, the Celtics had their moments, but mistakes in recognition and positioning proved costly. Justin Edwards, who had been heating up from three-point range, found open looks late in the game, and even when defenders rotated, there were lapses that allowed him to capitalize. Jaylen Brown's attempt to disrupt the play backfired when he went for a steal, leaving an open opportunity that Kelly Oubre converted on an offensive rebound. These are the types of moments that illustrate the razor-thin margins in professional basketball, where a single decision, a split-second misread, or a slight hesitation can determine the outcome. Brown admitted afterward that he had been caught ball watching, a moment of accountability that reflects both his competitiveness and the reality of the situation. Mistakes like these happen to even the most seasoned players, and the Celtics are learning that recovery, communication, and collective awareness are as vital as individual skill. Offensively, the Celtics are generating the right looks, moving the ball efficiently, and creating spacing that should lead to higher percentage shots, but the conversion rate has been inconsistent. Players like Jordan Walsh continue to make strides, showing growth in decision-making and offensive awareness. Yet even he has had moments where timing or hesitation cost the team easy points. The difference between finishing a transition play or getting blocked or hitting a wide-open shot versus missing by inches is often imperceptible, but it separates winning from losing. The Celtics have been in games where opportunities are created but not executed, leaving fans frustrated but recognizing that the foundation is there. They're just learning how to consistently finish possessions under pressure. Late-game execution remains a theme, especially in tight scenarios where every decision is magnified. Passing, cutting, and reading the defense must be instantaneous. A split-second delay, a slightly off-target pass, or a missed recognition of an open man can unravel an entire possession. The Celtics have shown that they can generate fast break opportunities, get into transition, and create mismatches, but the final step, the conversion, is what has been elusive. Whether it is a hesitation on a layup, a missed timing on a pass, or a slightly delayed rotation on defense, these small moments add up over the course of a game, and the team must adjust to minimize these occurrences. The season at this point shows a team that is still finding its identity. 5-7 after 12 games indicates a roster capable of competing but struggling with consistency. They are in the process of learning how to combine individual talent with team execution, understanding rotations, and recognizing where and when to make plays. Players are taking steps forward, but the team as a whole needs to synthesize these individual performances into a coherent strategy that can be relied upon in late-game situations. These lessons are critical as the Celtics navigate the schedule, aiming to climb above the .500 mark and find stability in both offense and defense. Looking ahead, the upcoming games present opportunities for adjustment and growth. Matchups against teams like Memphis and Brooklyn will test the Celtics' ability to execute under pressure, maintain rhythm, and leverage their strengths without being undone by small lapses. Every possession counts, and the coaching staff must continue to find the balance between resting players, maximizing hot hands, and ensuring that rotations do not disrupt offensive flow. On the court, players must continue to improve recognition, timing, and the ability to anticipate the defense while maintaining composure in transition and half-court sets. The challenge is integrating individual skill into team success, which has been inconsistent so far this season, but is essential for the Celtics to take the next step. Players like Jaylen Brown and Derek White are central to this effort, expected to carry responsibilities both offensively and defensively. Yet, the Celtics need contributions from every rotation player, from Anthony Simons to Pritchard, and even the younger players making strides like Jordan Walsh. When a team succeeds, it is because the collective effort matches individual talent. When they struggle, it is often the result of a breakdown in timing, spacing, or recognition, showing how important cohesion is at the highest level. Basketball is a game of inches and milliseconds, and the Celtics are learning how crucial those moments are in determining outcomes. The positive takeaway is that the team is creating opportunities. Fast breaks, spacing, and offensive sets have generated good looks and chances to score, but the finishing touch has been inconsistent. The negatives are clear: delayed passes, missed rotations, ball watching at critical moments, and hesitation in transition. These are areas the team must address if they are to move beyond mediocrity and establish themselves as a contender rather than just a .500 squad. Season growth for the Celtics will come from learning to execute consistently, trust each other's rotations, and understand where advantages are created and how to capitalize on them under pressure. Individual performances remain a bright spot. Players are developing, taking steps forward, and contributing in ways that hint at potential breakout performances. Jordan Walsh, for instance, is showing maturity and an understanding of the game that will be critical as the season progresses. Simons has shown the ability to take over stretches of games, but managing rotations and hot hands is still a learning process. Every player on the roster will have to internalize the importance of finishing plays, maintaining focus in late-game situations, and making quick, smart decisions in order for the Celtics to reach their goals. The team is learning through trial and error, and every game provides insight into what works and what needs adjustment. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NBA world is buzzing with whispers that could shake the balance of power in the Eastern Conference. According to sources close to the situation, rising star TYRESE Maxey has turned down a contract extension with Philadelphia and has expressed his desire to join the Boston Celtics. While nothing is official, the rumor has already sent shockwaves through both fan bases and front offices around the league. Maxey, who has blossomed into one of the most dynamic guards in the game, was seen as a cornerstone of the 76ers' future, a perfect complement to Joel Embiid's dominance in the paint. His decision to reject a lucrative offer reportedly left team executives stunned. One insider described the atmosphere in Philadelphia's camp as tense and uncertain, suggesting that Maxey's mind might already be set on wearing green and white. In Boston, the excitement is palpable. The Celtics have long been linked to ambitious moves, and bringing in a young, explosive guard like Maxey could represent the next evolution of their championship-caliber roster. Pairing him with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown could form an electrifying trio, fast, fearless, and unrelenting on both ends of the court. Of course, the question remains, how real is this? Some league insiders caution that this could be part of a negotiation strategy, a power play to put pressure on Philadelphia. Others insist that Maxey has genuine admiration for the Celtics culture, their winning mentality, and the chance to grow under a system that prioritizes ball movement and two-way play. Social media has already exploded with speculation. Fans have dissected every clue. An Instagram like here, a cryptic tweet there, as if decoding a hidden message. Meanwhile, Boston loyalists are daring to dream of a future backcourt that could redefine the team's offensive identity. Whether this rumor turns into reality or fades into the endless swirl of NBA off-season drama, one thing is certain. The league is watching closely. If Maxey truly chooses Boston, it could mark one of the most stunning player shifts in recent memory, and perhaps the beginning of a new era in the East. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.